Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Doodles to Dazzle. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Barbara.
And today we're going to be talking about embracing the inner child in creativity.
That's right. We chose this topic specifically because this week is Sinterklaas.
Yes. For those who don't know, Sinterklaas is a holiday celebrated here in Belgium and I suppose Netherlands also, right?
Yes.
And maybe
yes.
a few other places in Europe have a similar festival.
Yeah, well,
I would say.
Santa Claus is inspired by it, right?
So, yeah. You want to give a bit of background into Sinterklaas?
It's a holiday dedicated to children. So as kids, I would really look forward to get a lot of gifts, eat a lot of chocolate, have some mandarins.
Yes, you have to leave a carrot for the horse.
You have to
or something.
Sing a song,
right?
Leave a carrot for the horsey.
Yeah, so there's a few rituals kind of that you would do. Something similar to Santa Claus, how you would leave a cookie out or something. Maybe in America, I think that's how they do it.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a similar ritual or similar event, but it happens earlier in December. So it's a very fun time, especially if you have kids at home.
December is like the month for kids. So many gifts.
And you like this holiday period and you have a family or kids to do this with. It's a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought it was the perfect time to talk a bit about embracing the inner child.
Yes.
While we're not going to be talking about parenting tips today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the inner child and how to embrace it, how to find it again, and why is it important?
Yes.
So let's get into it. Let's dive in.
Yeah. So I think especially when you're in a creative field or just a creative person, sometimes when you're on your journey, it's very easy to get lost in trying to get better or learn and grow. But sometimes, and this has been so many times the case with me, where Barbara has to remind me, like, Charlie, why don't you just got to play with things? Because sometimes you get so caught up in wanting to improve a certain skill or you want to learn something and just get really good at it and focus too much on reaching somewhere or trying to see certain outcomes or reaching a certain level of mastery. It's something I often go back to a lot of the time, and Barbara has to actively remind me that, hey, you need to have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I don't think it's only in creativity, but I know that as a kid, you just naturally play. You're not aware of all the things that you're supposed to be or so how you're supposed to act. And that's something that you learn like in your teenage years and like early adulthood is like how you're supposed to behave in a society.
Yeah, a lot of it is because kids, especially younger kids, have a sense of wonder because so much.
Yeah, and there's not so many rules.
Things,
there's no rules yet, right?
They don't understand these things.
No, they're still learning and getting a grasp of this world.
Yeah.
And that comes with falling down and getting back up, and that's exactly the thing. And it's with that falling down a lot that you get a sense of these rules, but it's also where you lose sometimes that kind of playfulness,
that sense of wonder,
and that
honestly,
sense of wonder. Yeah. So. Yeah, and the spontaneity, or maybe you don't dare to be so different because you're trying to kind of fit in somehow.
Yes.
I mean, for me at least, I know that I had this idea that as an adult you had to become kind of more serious or something. So there were these rules, that you had to kind of be this kind of person. If you're an adult, you have to behave a certain way. You have to look a certain way. And playfulness, it was not so much like a part of that. And for me, this journey into creativity and artistry and all that is a rediscovering of the inner child and letting go and playing again. And that it feels really very liberating to do that. But it has taken a lot of work to be able to do that. for me at least, because it's kind of crazy how much you get, you how much you believe that you're supposed to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And that process of letting go, it can sometimes it takes sometimes some years to unravel everything. um yeah, for me, I think so, at least.
Yeah, I think growing up, kids are just exposed to social norms and what is expected of how kids should behave as they grow up, and what is expected of them as they become older and grow into becoming adults, and that you need to be a certain way. Even if it's not something their parents might do, it's just society as in general. They pick up whether it's content online or social media or just examples of other adults in their lives or school and all these different things. And it's just a pity you get for people to lose that inner child,
Yeah.
especially a lot of the time. And for them to get it back is a tough thing to do, especially when you're talking about it in a very creative sense. It can be tough to bring it into and manifest it into your work.
Yeah, in fact, something you said just made me think, like, because of social media, maybe it's gotten even tougher for these kids growing up these days, because there's even, you have a worldwide influence of how you're supposed to act and supposed to be
Yeah.
like. And I can imagine that's very challenging sometimes, because the pressure is real when you're growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in many ways, kids are not as innocent as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when I was 10 or 12, the naivete I had. I was a very naive kid, compared to some of the kids that same age now, simply because they have a phone or simply because they're exposed on social media and all these things, or just online, that they're forced to grow up so fast because the world is opened up for them
Mm-hmm.
digitally, and that just makes that so that they can be exposed to anything, taking away that sense of innocence and wonder that they might have, because it's not new anymore, because you can see it online, you can read about it online. It takes away from the magic of discovering it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely in this age where kids are growing up too fast, and we as adults are just trying to make it as things get more expensive. And yeah, it's not an easy life or circumstances to grow up in or to live in, and that makes it harder to hold on to the inner kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it that much more important that, hey, we need to go back to the roots.
Yeah.
We need to go back to the roots if we want to embrace this inner kid, to let it unleash our creativity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So what are some of the ways that we've been doing that, Barbara?
For me, it's has been a lot of like letting go. I've been questioning a lot of my belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I think like, oh, this is supposed to be this way, I challenge that myself. I constantly challenge myself. Like, why am I thinking this? Is this really true? And I try to unravel it that way. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like a process for me to kind of let go of these belief systems, that of things that are of how something is supposed to be, or how you're supposed to react, or those
Mm-hmm.
kind of things,
These limited beliefs
these
that you might develop as you become an
mm-hmm,
adult.
mm-hmm.
Like, hey, you're supposed to be this person who's had it figured out.
For example.
Yeah, and you
For
have to live
example.
this way to be that kind of a
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is, like, all these belief systems, they really chain the inner child.
Yes.
You're like forced to walk a path that maybe is not your own, and that's why for me it has been a lot of letting go of those the path that others, or that people tell you that you have to walk or something like.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm trying to just let go and use my imagination more, and question the belief systems. That's been like a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that has a direct influence for me to my creativity, because the moment that I let go, I just get more ideas.
Yeah.
I liberate my thinking, and then I just get more ideas to whatever I want to do.
Hmm.
Do you have like some tips for you? What has worked?
There are many ways to go about it. I think for me, and I think this is something you can also sort of agree with, I suppose, is that I tend to, I love trying new things.
Yeah.
And I might struggle to stick with it a lot of the time, at least, especially back a few years ago. Now I changed that. Maybe I've matured enough that I stick to it a longer to see it through quite a bit. But back in the day, sticking to whatever new thing I tried was always a bit of a challenge. But I liked trying new things. And I think that's how I've always been since I was a kid. Was a bit of a wild child. And a bit of a daredevil. So I'd love to do these scary things or things that would just other kids would be maybe a bit afraid of.
You're a bit of an adrenaline junkie that
Yes,
way.
in a certain sense. I might sound like that. I'm not like into extreme sports or something like that. I'm not that crazy.
But
if
you
you're
do
into
get
that sort of thing, that's great. But
you do get a bit of a rush when you do new things.
Yeah, I just like to try new things. I'm not unafraid. I'm not afraid of it. Or even if I am, I dare to give it a shot and see what happens and see how I connect with it. I think that's one of the biggest traits.
Yeah, it's actually a really great tip is to try something out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, because that's what kids are always doing or trying new things. Because for them, it's a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
That's exactly why they have that sense of
wonder. They
wonder.
don't have a comfort zone.
Yeah. That's why they have a sense of wonder. That's why they're playful with it, because they don't know the rules of it yet.
Yeah, and they're discovering it all.
So in that process of discovery, that's where your kid gets wild and has fun with it. Yeah.
I think that's such an important thing is to have fun. When that's like a big part of play. That's something that I think a lot of people forget is to just have fun when they're doing things. And for me, I try to bring that back also whenever I'm doing things, because I think play is such a important part of our lives.
Yes.
It's not something that can make us happy only. It's also something that can bring us a lot of teachings or lessons and bring us to unexpected paths. Play is where the magic happens, I think. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Play is where it starts. And I think that's something that I try to use as an anchor whenever I try to do things, because if we're on this creative journey in life, or not just creative journey, if you're living life, and I know certainly for me, I've had moments where I have doubt that creeps in, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, is this all that I'm meant to be? Or is there never going to be anything more to it? What is my purpose or meaning and all this kind of thing?
Big questions.
Big questions that can come your way, because sometimes it can all seem so trivial in the grand scheme of things. But then I also sort of realized, like, it's just about how much more meaningful I want to make my life. And do I want to seem like the kind of person who's not having fun with the things I do, trying new things, just living an abundant and a full life, like the way kids do, because kids are just having fun, trying new things, playing around, discovering. And that's the thing, there's so much discovery left. And I think as adults, we feel like, oh, we've seen it all, done it all. But that's far from the truth. It's really a matter of perspective. And if you really think about it, we've done jack. We have done nothing. Most people. Very few people have very full experiences in their life to that degree where they can say, oh, I've done things, or I do this, I do that. You can also find, I'm not saying you should go out there and do a lot of new things and all that kind of stuff. You can have fun with whatever you're still doing every day. Just play with it, have fun with it. It's also so much about that perspective. Like,
yes. Yeah. In fact, it made me think of something that, in fact, how children live is very much in the moment.
Yes.
Right? They live in now. And as an adult, a lot of times you're either worrying about the past or the future, and you tend to forget to enjoy the now.
Yes.
Right? And yeah, it's important to do that. It's important to focus on the moment, enjoy the little things.
Yes.
Yeah, and live in the now, have fun in the now. Not just
Yes.
live in the now, but have fun in the now.
So what are some of the things you've done that is you having fun in the now?
It's these magic moments, they happen when you fully let go and you just laugh because there's something unexpected that happens.
Yeah.
We have so many moments like that together as a couple. I don't even remember. There was something like that yesterday. There's constantly these little mishaps that happen in conversation or whatever,
Yeah, in your relationships with your partner, right?
or whatever, instead of looking at things like, oh, something didn't work out, it's just enjoying that moment and just laughing about it. I think people should laugh more. It's an important part of life is to enjoy it and to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, for example, one of the things we did recently is the Inktober challenge. For example, that was us putting ourselves out of the comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
Trying something very different, very new, a challenge.
Yes.
But it also enabled us to unleash our creativity.
Yeah, and to play. And to be in the now.
And be in the now. And then also tell a story.
Yeah.
If you notice, a lot of the time when kids are doing an art, they're telling stories.
That's true.
From their life or whatever.
Yes.
And if I think back to a lot of the pieces I'd done, say last year or something, a lot of the time it's just, I have a reference, I would paint it, I would draw it. But the Inktober, it was such a big milestone because we painted our imagination. We were telling stories.
We were playing with it. Yeah.
We were that took me back to feeling like a kid again.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, there was a time crunch, so we had to let go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, that's how it is with kids. You're just in the moment. You're trying to tell a story. You're just expressing yourself, and you're seeing what you're not thinking about the outcome. You're not thinking about the result or none of that. You're just discovering it as it sort of unfolds.
Yes. Yeah.
The other day, I started doing knitting. Which because maybe you don't know, but Barbara is really a master knitter. I would say.
I wouldn't call myself a master. I'm pretty good, but
she's really good. Barbara's mom too, and they're really great at knitting. And every winter they will make a series of sweaters and scarves and all these beautiful pieces of winter clothing that you would never find in a store.
No.
And made of the most softest alpaca wool or merino wool and all this stuff. Amazing quality.
Good stuff.
The good stuff. And it just got me thinking that it's not easy to do these projects. Take a lot of time, focus, energy.
They don't always work out.
And they don't always work out. And I was just thinking, I'd love to wear a nice sweater or a nice scarf, and there is limited manpower, and they want to make sweaters for our daughter, or she wants to make a sweater for herself or something. So winter's only so long. So I was like, okay, you know what? I wanted this sweater. I'm gonna try making something. So I've been practicing, and I've been really kind of getting into it. But the point here is that often as a man, and I know there are a lot of male knitters, especially in Scandinavian countries and maybe certain cultures where knitting is a big part of the culture. But normally, I come from India, and normally, I guess in these parts of the world, is something you wouldn't expect of a man. So in that sense, something like that never stops me. Like, I'm not the kind of person to think, oh, I'm a man, so I'm not going to do this. I'm more than happy to try things that typically it's mostly women who do these things. So for me, I've never thought about it that way. I only think about, okay, I'm just going to try something because I want to. I want a sweater or I want a thing. And it takes me back again to being a kid where it's like, oh, I want something. I want to learn it. and figure it out myself, because you're not, as a kid, you're not locked into these gender roles or how things,
True.
boys do this, girls do that,
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Like boys don't knit or something.
All that stuff.
All that kind of limited rules or ways of thinking that people often get into.
Yeah.
So for me, it doesn't stop me, and it doesn't stop me from being any less of a man, or I don't feel like anything less. I'm very confident as a man, as a person.
And by the way, guys, he's pretty good. He's learning pretty fast.
Yes. Yeah. So
and I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So point isn't about the knitting. The point is to try things that you probably feel like, it's not for me. That's only guys do that. Or
get out of your comfort zone.
It's not me. I'm too old for this. I mean, these are things that will, in the end, stop you from being your greatest self. You want to make something of your life. You want to make the most of your life. You want to do stuff. Just try new things. Get out of your comfort zone. And just have fun. Play with what you're doing.
Yeah. Play is where the magic happens.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that pretty much sums it all up. So we would really encourage all of you guys, especially this month where it's all about kids, to embrace your inner child a little bit, to try to get out of your comfort zone.
Maybe you can start with making some Christmas cards for your family or something.
That's
if you've never done that before.
Fun activity, by the way, to do some handicraft or any kind of way. Or maybe you take some wrapping paper, instead of buying something fancy, buy some brown paper, doodle on it, do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, and have fun, play with it.
Bake some cookies or gingerbread cookies with your kids, and
make some Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, there's so many. So it's the holiday season's full of opportunity to have fun with these different holiday activities.
Yes.
And there's either you do it by yourself, with your partners, with your family.
Grab some family members.
Yes,
do it together.
Do it together.
It's the season of togetherness. It's the season of, embracing all that, the holiday spirit, the cheer. We all have to sit inside. It's cold outside. It's not fun to be there. Yes. So just grab your family, do some forced family activities and have some fun with it. Guys, seriously. It's so much more fun to do things together. And I think especially after Corona times, we all need some quality time together. Yes. So that's pretty much
and if you don't feel like making Christmas cards, you can always visit our Etsy shop.
That's a good point.
Because we do have our Christmas cards there. Thank you to everyone who've already purchased some of the Christmas cards. We've still got more. So get them before it's Christmas Day and it's a bit too late. And you can always send it after. But if you want to send them before the season ends, it's better to get on it right now.
Yeah, it's the perfect timing. They will reach you in time. I will personally make sure of that.
Yes. So once again, visit our Etsy shop to check out the Christmas cards and any other cool products Barbara keeps putting up on there. And also check out our social media accounts and reach out to us, because we'd love to hear more of your stories where you've embraced your inner child.
Yeah, just feel free to tag us. We would love to see what you guys create when you embrace the inner child. That would be so much fun to see.
Yes.
Just tag us. We'd love to see it. We're really excited to see that.
Yeah. And lastly, if you enjoyed this episode, please do share with your friends, family, or colleagues, or anyone who would benefit from it or like to hear us.
5 stars.
Yes. Also, please do leave us a review if you do enjoy our podcast. It really goes a long way.
Okay, guys. You guys have a great day or evening or whatever part of the day it is.
Yeah. We love you very much. Thank you for listening in. And we will join you next time.
Bye.
Toodles.